Good morning, everyone. It's your morning ride along with Dr. John, and today's a really cool one. We're going to talk about children and chiropractic care. Do they go hand in hand? Well, yes. That's a short video, right? Take care, guys. No, so I know, being a dad, and I know Dr. Corey, being a mom, are super protective over Coleman. We want the best for him. We want to make sure that whatever we're doing is research. We want to make sure that if we're making a choice regarding what we're doing with him, that it's educated, that we're giving him the best chance in life. And so that's why ever since he was about 4 hours old, he's been adjusted. So the first thing that we got to talk about is it safe? Is it safe for children? Absolutely. It absolutely is. So long as your chiropractor is confident and knows what they're doing and knows to adjust their technique for children. It's very safe. You can look at the research, you can look at the statistics. There are very few, I struggled to find many. I couldn't find more than, I think, one incidents with children and chiropractic care. And again, I think that one case was the doc didn't really change their technique up at all for the child. And it was an older child. It was more like a preteen, teenager. But yeah, so infants, babies, why would they need chiropractic care? Well, if you've ever seen the birthing process, it's pretty traumatic for both mom and the baby. They have to pull on the neck and twist in order to get the shoulders to pass through the birth canal. So there's an estimated 60-ish, maybe more, maybe less, pounds of pressure being put on a tiny little baby's spine. And their spines aren't yet completely strong enough to sometimes withstand that tension. And that's only with a manual delivery. Sometimes the baby has to be extracted with forceps. Sometimes it has to be extracted with a vacuum. And these are all things that affect that baby's spine and their nervous system. So from the time they're born, I think it's important to get your children checked with chiropractic care. And now the question would be, why? Why do kids need to be checked? Well, there's several factors that come into play. One, like I mentioned before, you're looking at giving your child the best chance to develop. From the time they're born, their nervous system is still developing. It's super, super young, and it's absorbing everything. So one of the really great things that our body has the ability to do, and we talked about this in our first video, that proprioception, the body's ability to gain information, or was that yesterday? I think that was yesterday. To gain information from the outside world, from their senses, and to convert that into information that the brain then uses to further facilitate the body. So if their senses are off, if they're not perceiving things correctly, if their muscles aren't moving the way that they think they should, imagine how hard it would be for an infant or a toddler to learn how to walk if they're not sure of where their limbs are in space. As it is, their balance is not very good, so they're falling, which, again, when they're learning to walk is another reason they need to be checked while they're young. But think about that. So it's super important that we get their nervous system and their brain to be working on the same page. This way, when they're learning about the world, when they're perceiving the world, it's 100% accurate. So number two would be your child's just their function. So their immune system, their digestive system, their ability to concentrate, focus, cognitive abilities. We have what's called neuroplasticity, which is something that some people have heard of, some people haven't. I talk about it in my practice. Whoa, I can't wait for this tripod to get here so I don't have to worry about losing you guys. Right now you're balancing on a rock. It's kind of funny. So we've heard about this word, neuroplasticity. What is it? So if we think about our brain's ability to function, let's think of it like a pie chart. There's a little segment, little slice of pie dedicated to doing certain tasks. Well, what scientists have started to realize is our brain is really efficient at becoming efficient. So if we do XYZ every single day, we're going to start giving XYZ a smaller and smaller slice of the pie because our brain doesn't have to focus as much on that task. So what neuroplasticity is, especially with children, is their ability to remap their brain and reprogram their brain to become more efficient at things. So chiropractic care can 100% affect neuroplasticity, and there's really cool research coming out that I'm going to do another video on that says that the adjustment will alter the brain's perception of reality and will alter that brain's mapping ability and that neuroplasticity. So neuroplasticity, super important for children. Getting them to have better proprioception, super important for children. When we think about them in school and their cognitive function, again, that neuroplasticity comes into play. When we think of their immune system, your brain controls everything. So it makes sense to me, at least, that the brain controls your immune system. So kids getting sick and being able to recover and bounce back, that's your brain helping your body heal. And we could talk about what is health until we turn blue in the face, but essentially your body knows what it's supposed to do. Your children's body knows what it's supposed to do. So it's going to do it even when we call it being sick. So why do children, as they get past the infant stage and the toddler stage, why would they need chiropractic care? Well, a number of reasons. Usually around 5, 6, we start thinking about kids playing sports, which obviously I don't really need to go into too many details about that, but sports can be traumatic, but also sports can be a good spot to utilize chiropractic care for that proprioception, for their ability to function in space. But one of the big topics that I kind of want to touch on is stress. A lot of people don't realize that stress comes in 3 forms. So you have thoughts, traumas, and toxins. So traumas is pretty self-explanatory. It's either a big accident, a trip, a fall. It's repetitive stress, so posture in school, their backpacks being way too heavy, or their day-to-day tasks where they're just texting on the phone, on the video games. So that poor posture. The other one would be toxins. So what kind of diet are they consuming? What are they drinking? Are they drinking nothing but soda? Those can play a role in misaligning the spine and creating subluxations. But the last one that I really want to talk about is thoughts. So we talked about that neuroplasticity, and there's some really cool research that shows when it comes to neuroplasticity and the brain mapping things, your thoughts become your attention, not intention, because that would make sense too, but your thoughts become your attention. So the brain is going to focus on the things that we are actively thinking about. So that goes to say, if we're a very positive person, we tend to see the positive things in life. Our brain starts to focus on the positive, and the exact opposite is true. So as kids get older and they go to school and they're engaging with other students, they start to experience stress. Who likes who, who's friends with who. Older than that, it gets worse. I mean, you get into high school and these poor kids, they're trying to figure out their way in life. They're trying to figure out their future, and they're being told they need to figure out their future. And on top of that, they're just starting to become interested in each other, and there's so many things going on, and stress is such a huge factor. So we know that stress can remap the brain to start thinking of these negative things, and that can absolutely create a subluxation. That can absolutely create a misalignment in their spine. So, to help combat that, it's super, super important, in my opinion, that you take your child to a chiropractor. Because you may not think, oh, well, they weren't in any car accidents, they weren't, doing this manual labor job like I've been for the last 15 years. No, they're not. But that doesn't mean they're not experiencing stress of some kind. So whether they play sports, which sports chiropractic can improve the performance, they can improve their recovery, they can improve their proprioception, so their ability to play. Whether they're just a student and they're really diligent in their studies, it can improve cognitive function, it can improve memory, or they're just having trouble with their health. They got, let's see, colic, ear infections, ADHD, somatosensory disorders, or I think they call it sensory integration disorder. You name it from that young age. Chiropractic has helped with it. Now, I'm not guaranteeing a cure. I'm not saying that you take your son to us and we will cure him or her. I'm just saying that there is strong anecdotal evidence that the brain is very intimately connected with the rest of the body. We work with the nervous system and the brain. There's a connection there that is pretty solid, and the research is starting to catch up. So yes, absolutely take your children to see the chiropractor. It's really, really beneficial for them, especially while they're growing up. I think the average toddler falls 25 times a day, and I know our son is probably going to fall closer to 250 times a day because he likes to run and not take his time and walk. But one of the things that we've been trying to tell, some of the parents that we introduce ourselves to is, if you think of your child like a plant, or like a tree is a good example. If you start growing that tree and watering and nurturing that tree, you don't want it to start off growing out crooked. You don't want it to be gnarled and the bottom roots to be tangled. You want that tree to have the best chance to grow nice and tall, nice and straight. So in the same way that you don't want an adult coming in being all banged up from their lifetime of, living, they come into us and they're like, well, can you fix me? Well, it'll take time. Let's get to the kids before all of that life happens. Let's get to those kids while they're young and learning and moving about their life. This way we can take care of and create healthy kids, and not just wait until they're older when they get into that car accident or have that traumatic experience and then try to treat broken adults. So we want to create healthy kids, which makes it easier to treat healthy adults versus waiting until they're older and trying to fix broken adults. So, to sum up, cognitive function, athletic performance, immune system, stress, emotional stress, all of these things are big factors for your children. And yes, we can absolutely take care of your kids. Come to Life Chiropractic, we pride ourselves on being family-centered. So we want to make sure that it's not just mom and dad who are dealing with, you call them real-life stresses, but baby and teen and preteen and toddler and adolescent, all of you. Everyone needs chiropractic care for some reason or another. So that's my talk for today about kids. Come to Life Chiropractic. We love you. We care about you. Experience life. Don't just live it.